The J&J vaccine is said to be 72% effective. Moderna and Pfizer up to 95% effective. You know there are going to be people who are like, oh, I'll just wait for the even better one, the super duper vaccine. Yeah. What's your thought on that?
Well, I mean, that I think is not a good idea. I think people should get vaccinated. The vaccine is still good against severe disease, as we've seen with the J&J vaccine.
If you had to pick between the three vaccines that are available to us now, the Pfizer, the Moderna, or the Johnson & Johnson, do you have a favorite? Do you have a favorite?
No, I don't, Stephen. I would pick the one that was the most readily available to me. All three of them are highly efficacious.
The FDA and the CDC has announced that they are now recommending a pause in the use of Johnson & Johnson's vaccine. The move, both agencies saying, is being taken out of an abundance of caution as health officials are investigating safety issues with that shot.
I don't think I can overstate how serious this development is. You know, we've been following now for a couple of weeks the story from the UK and the concern about these rare clotting events associated with the AstraZeneca vaccine. And we just started hearing reports that a similar situation could be occurring here in the U.S., Savannah, with the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. And these are not the typical blood clots that we usually think of in the leg, for example, but rather these are rarer events. They're termed something called a cerebral venous thrombosis. That's a blood clot in the veins of the brain that are thought to be perhaps triggered by an immune reaction. That's why we're seeing this predominantly in younger women.
A couple of issues come up of the importance of calling this pause. This is a really rare event.
The pause on J&J's vaccine officially lifted just moments ago. The CDC and FDA made the move after a panel of CDC advisors recommended the shot go back in rotation for all American adults.
Now, overall, the committee found the benefits of the vaccine across all groups in preventing hospitalization and death from COVID outweighed the risk of these clots. This is a very rare event that can happen with the J&J vaccine. The CDC confirming this after the Washington Post's reporting. It's called Guillain-Barre Syndrome. Now, they say this is occurring largely 2 weeks after vaccination, mostly in males, many 50 plus. The risk of severe adverse events for the vaccines remains rare, and they are still recommending everybody over the age of 12 who's eligible get a vaccine.
We also want to talk about an update to a warning regarding a complication to the J&J vaccine. Exactly. So they updated their warning for people with a history of what's called thrombosis and thrombocytopenia, a blood clot associated with low platelet levels after getting the J&J COVID-19 vaccine. Their recommendation is that when they get their booster, they should get boosted with an mRNA technology vaccine.
There's an advisory panel to the CDC saying people should not get the Johnson & Johnson vaccine if the Pfizer or Moderna shots are available. That panel just wrapped up a meeting on the risk of rare but potentially life-threatening blood clots linked to the J&J vaccine.
Do you think it was a mistake from the beginning to recommend the J&J vaccine, given what was clearly the lack of efficacy relative to the others, and now some of the other troubling aspects that we've learned?
Well, the shift and the change right now that occurred yesterday regarding a recommendation of a preference for the mRNA over J&J really was nailed down by the very recent data that there are more of these adverse events than was originally thought.
The benefits outweighed the risk of these clots.